You can get your calling from anywhere,
Anywhere.
and you should be able to take risks and be challenging.
Hey guys, so welcome back to Math. Today we have Saquib with us. You might already be knowing him because he's kind of famous over LinkedIn because he has cleared UPSC. But I would request Saquib, if you can just give a brief introduction about yourself before we start deep dive into your journey of UPSC.
Firstly, thanks for calling me here for this interview session. And for introducing myself, my full name is Mohammad Saquib, and I belong to Lucknow. That's my hometown. And I did my schooling till 12th class in Lucknow itself. Then I got my graduation degree in 2014 from Jamia Millia Islamia. So I am basically a mechanical engineer. From Jamia Millia Islamia, I got campus placed in Mahindra and Mahindra. Automotive division, and there was a part of that trucks and bus division in which I was recruited. I worked there for 3.5 years approximately, where when I quit for preparing for UPSC, back then I was working as a deputy manager there.
Okay, sure, yeah.
And from there till now, like approximately 4.5 years of studies without job.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I think it would be interesting to learn, and it would be great for the students to learn the motivation that you had. So maybe I will start from this question. I think there is a primary question that everyone has. What was, because you were already doing a job at Mahindra for 3.5 years. So what was your motivation of quitting? And then before that, what was your motivation of preparing for UPSC? So if you can just give us your thoughts.
Right. See, I never had any, people have childhood dreams of becoming civil servants. I did not have anything like that. So I used to have this dream of becoming a good technocrat and a super automotive engineer. I like to make vehicles, and I did that for 3.5 years. Correct. And while I was working there, I was getting some, I was getting good work. I was getting awards. I was doing some innovative work as well. So I started to realize something, that I can put this work, this skill, maybe into the direction of civil services, so that I can help the public at large. Because I have been interested in doing all these things, like helping the public, poor, and in whatever way I could. I mean, if I cannot contribute monetarily, then I pray for them. So I mean, so that motivation turned in with in collaboration with my skills, gave me this hope that I can channelize my potential into working for UPSC preparation, so that I may become a civil servant and help these people and our citizens directly.
Okay, understood. So while you were there at Mahindra, so during that time frame also, were you preparing and giving UPSC, or after quitting itself you started giving it? How was it?
Yeah, so I quit. My last day in Mahindra was 3rd Jan 2018.
Okay.
And I started preparing for UPSC in 2016 itself.
Okay.
So there was an overlap period of around 1.5 to 2 years.
1.5. So at that time, along with job, that means you might have given one attempt, right? If I'm not wrong.
2 attempts.
2 attempts. Okay, sure. So now maybe starting this journey of yours, right? Because this might relate to many other students who want to prepare, who are in job and might have a dilemma also. You can also share the kind of, it's not an easy road, I believe, right? So you can share the truths that the students might face while preparing. So maybe what was your way of preparation during 6 years, and maybe a very small journey, like what happened during this 6 years, maybe year by year, what was your status and like how you were improving?
Right. So it could go a bit long because it's a journey of 6 years.
Correct.
But I will be brief, but I would be concentrating on the important aspects of life and how the students should learn from it.
Correct.
So when my journey started in 2016, so there are 2 lessons from it. So it started very casually, and the motivation for attempting giving my first attempt was like, I was living in Pune. I did not get time to visit Mumbai because I was so busy with work. So the center was in Mumbai. So we thought that let's go to Mumbai, and by giving exam, we would be able to see Mumbai as well. And that was a very insincere approach and attitude. So we went there and we roamed around. while giving exams. We gave
Correct.
exam as well. Because I was never serious and I never knew that I would be committing so much that I would be leaving job in the future for that.
Correct.
But when I looked at the paper, I thought that, okay, this is geography, history, economics. I had been good in my academics as well. So I thought that this is doable. So we can try. So this is lesson number one for like, you can get your calling from anywhere. You don't know, but if you look properly, then you are getting callings again and again. Then I gave my second attempt as well, like this only. I was not very serious. I had started studying, but not at that level, which the commitment which is required. It was steadily increasing. But at the end of 2017, I was having a very, a bad dilemma. So I had cleared GRE, yes, and my score was 320 out of 340. So it's a very good score, and you could easily get the best universities.
So this was for MBA, basically?
This was for MS.
MS. Okay. So just for the audience, so basically these two starting attempts was you being at Mahindra, not very serious casual attempts. Then you also had a GRE of 320. You were in a dilemma of MS, and then next going forward.
Yeah. So I had never been, I was always committed to Mahindra, and I used to work like anything. But then after this first attempt of UPSC, some kind of commitment started here as well. Now, every engineer wants to go to US for pursuing MS and all. And it's an easier path also comparatively. So I was on that path itself. So when I was about to quit, and seriously, my commitment for UPSC started increasing. Now I was very much confused what to do. Then I chose the tougher path. I talked to myself, I talked to my parents, and then I realized that let's do the more challenging thing. Then I came for Dar Ke Aage Jeet. And I have this habit of pushing myself to limits. And nobody had ever tried this thing in my complete entire location or my extended family. Nobody has ever tried for this. So I thought let's try this. Yeah. So that is how my journey started.
Correct. So now 3 years, for example, have passed. Now coming to your further attempts that were there. So again, highlighting the important learnings for each attempt. Was this like your first interview, second interview? So anything that you would like to share for the rest of the 4 years of journey?
Right. So learning number 1 and 2, I've already told that you can get your calling from anywhere. And you should be able to take risks and be challenging yourself continuously. When I quit my job, it was 2018, and now again I came from a corporate life, a good life, to that room with sharing room with one people, and the shared bathroom and all those things. I was a student again. So how did that happen? I gave my third attempt in 2018, and there I missed the prelims. I was not able to clear the prelims. I missed it by 6 months. Then I cleared Jamia RCA. You might be knowing about it. So I cleared that exam, and I became a part of Jamia Millia Islamia Residential Coaching Academy. Jamia RCA we call it. Again, that is a very actually good place because it's an all-India competition, and you start learning from people. You have to you get peer pressure, and you are constantly in the eyes of the mentors and a good number of quality students. So you become polished yourself, right? So that was when my journey really started. No, then after came real time of hard labor. I became focused again, and I started preparing very well. So in 2019, 2020, and in 2021, I have cleared prelims in all these 3 years. Right, but I was not able to clear the mains in 2019 and 20. So this 2021 when I got selected. This is the first time when I have cleared UPSC mains and got into interview. And then by God willingness, I converted that to a rank. Now there were tough times as well. Like my father got very ill during COVID. So he's alive to, I guess, see this day. It's a miracle actually that he's alive, and we thank God for that. And then the second wave came, and some of my relatives again fell ill. We brought them to our home, and it was a very tough time. Then what happened? Like it had been 3.5 and 4 years of leaving my job after leaving my job. So my PF money was depleted. My savings got started depleting. So it was a tough time. It had been a tough time. So at the end, I had joined recently last month, even only in May, I joined Mahindra Bank. I requested them and I told them about my condition, and they were very welcoming to recruit me again, and I'm very grateful to Mahindra for that.
Oh, so it's interesting.
So I mean, this is a journey of learnings, aspirations. But one thing is constant: the consistency, the commitment, the forward-looking attitude, and the internal motivation. That is consistent, and that is the most important ingredients which are required in this journey.
Correct. No, I think it's really interesting. So you gave so many attempts. The last attempt, and this was your last attempt, right?
This was my last attempt.
And you kind of cleared mains, and then you converted your interview, right? Okay, that's interesting. Now maybe.
So I increased my mains marks by around 200 approximately, and that's a big feat actually. So I mean, why I'm telling this, in this journey, if you are committed, you can do this kind of stuff. So don't be having any kind of botheration or limitations in your mind, and you won't be able to do that. You can do these things.
Correct. Understood. So maybe now let's get more deep into the UPSC preparation, right? So first question, what was your optional and how you selected that optional?
Right. So my optional was psychology, and it is a bit unconventional optional because people are a bit, I don't know, afraid to take that. But I liked it from the very beginning. There are two, three reasons why I took that option. Firstly was because of my interest. I have always been very, I want to know human behavior, and this is a scientific method to know that. So I took psychology as my option. The syllabus is very much bent for a scientific mind, and I, being a technical person, I was more comfortable with psychology. It falls somewhere between arts and natural sciences. So there are research, there are experiments, then there are the implementation of those researchers and experiments in the real life scenario. This is what we do in engineering, right?
Correct.
So so it is something like that. So that's why the mode of preparation was towards my side. And the most important thing was that this was very conducive in the way, like since the students are limited in this, since the resources are limited, mostly people are afraid because of this reason. But this can be your advantage as well, because when you have lower resources, then you have more freedom of expression.
Understood.
So if you get into the depth of the subject and you become well versed with it, then you can get more marks. And this year I got, I'm one of the toppers in India as far as psychology is concerned.
Understood. So what is your suggestion for anyone who is in that stage of deciding an optional subject? So what would be, in a very concrete terms, what would be your suggestion would be?
I am very glad that you asked this question, because most of the people who are coming into this field are very much confused about this. Even I was confused. So I'm going to tell you the way which my mentor, Mr. Tariq, he's deputy director Jamia, RCA, and he told me this. So see, there are around 20 to 25 optional subjects, right? So around 15 of them you can just slash it off just by your whims, right? You are not liking some subjects, and some subjects you know that you cannot do. So as an engineer, I cannot do medicine. Now the remaining 10 subjects which are there, just go through their syllabus and try to get a hang of the syllabus. So some syllabus would be like, okay, I won't be able to do this, man. Right? Like in anthropology, I was like, okay, you have to study about so many tribes, so I won't be able to do that. So you can cancel these subjects according to your choice. Then you have to consider your interest, and then if you are finally shortlisting 2 or 3 optionals, then just do one thing: read the NCRTs of 11th and 12th for those subjects. So while you are reading the NCRTs, you will be able to very much clearly see that whether you are able to sustain that interest or not. And if you are able to sustain that interest, then choose that optional. So it will be very clear.
Understood. So now coming to your regular study pattern, right? Obviously, it will depend from person to person. Like we have people who have cleared maybe in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, depending on they were in job, they were not in job, they were studying from how serious they were from the starting. So there are so many variables.
Yes, yes.
But for you, like personal level, how much time were you dedicating for study when you were serious, and what is your suggestion for the upcoming generation for that?
Right. So if you're coming for UPSC preparation,
Correct.
Then you have to commit at least 2 years.
Mhm.
I mean, those people who are getting selected in the first attempt or second attempt, that is because they don't give attempts till they are well versed with that.
well-versed,
This is the
correct.
new, and this is the new trend right now. So
Mhm.
that is okay. That is good.
Correct.
Why to waste your attempts like I did
Correct.
initially, right?
Correct.
And when I was serious, like when I left my job,
Mhm.
so I was completely dedicated to studies.
Mhm.
So I used to sleep at around 3:30 or 4 at night.
Mhm.
I used to get up by 9:30 or 10,
Mhm.
and then the whole time during between this waking up and sleeping, it was dedicated to sleep.
Mhm.
But that is not the key actually.
Mhm.
So suppose you are sitting for 15 hours.
Mhm.
But if you count your time, then it would be effective study of only 5 hours.
Correct.
No, your goal should be that. So the output is 33%, 5 hours into 15 hours, right?
Correct.
So your goal should be to increase that output to above 80%.
Mhm.
So when you are sitting for 10 hours, suppose, then you have to study 8 hours in that effectively.
Correct.
Now that is the key, and that is what need to be worked upon. This is known as smart work, not hard work, right?
Correct.
Also, having said this, you have to take out time for yourself as well.
Mhm.
So I am a guy who was very much serious when I was studying,
Mhm.
but when I was having fun, I was having fun.
Mhm.
So I have gone to trips with my friends. I have gone to trekking in between.
Mhm.
I used to watch all the Marvel movies,
Mhm.
right? And so I was keeping in touch with the outside life also. But the priorities were clear. Like when I'm studying, and I was studying like more than 6.5 days in a week,
Mhm.
then I'm studying. Then no distraction.
Correct.
But for 1 day or half day in a week, I was totally enjoying myself. Then no studies.
Understood. Now coming to the part of coaching, like were you engaged with some offline coaching? Were you doing online, or is it self-study? How was it? And maybe in terms of the question papers. So for example, the kind of questions you solve it within the coaching itself. So what was you doing on that side?
Right. So I haven't done any coaching.
Okay.
So it is more or less mostly self-study.
Mhm.
But I took help here and there.
Mhm.
So this year when I cleared my the CSE,
Mhm.
so I took help of Insights Mains Current Affairs programs.
Mhm.
That is a very good thing
Mhm.
for my GS preparation.
Mhm.
And I gave Lukman test series for ethics.
Okay.
So I gave 4 or 5 tests there.
Mhm.
And newspaper reading, Indian Express,
Mhm.
and a lot of brainstorming.
Mhm.
Now, this is the key to crack the mains. You have to brainstorm a lot. You have to think.
Mhm.
So, if concludingly, so self-study,
Mhm.
some support of coaching,
Mhm.
specific support, targeted support
Mhm.
from coaching,
Mhm.
and a lot of brainstorming.
Understood. Now you bring a good point about the newspaper, right? So again, because there are so many questions come on whether the Hindu, I think
Yes.
the Hindu is the preference, but what are your thoughts and
Yes.
how you prepared for that?
Yeah, see, either of the Hindu or Indian Express can do.
Okay.
Yeah, so so I have read both the papers, the Hindu and Indian Express, but eventually I started reading Indian Express more.
Okay.
And this mains this year, this mains preparation which I did, the newspaper reading, that was completely Indian Express.
Okay, understood. So every year, how much time were you devoting for this newspaper study? Sorry, every day.
See, there is no fixed pattern. I used to read very less newspaper, and mostly I did not read newspaper.
Okay.
See, newspaper is really required in the beginning of your preparation. Like when you get to know, when you are just learning how to absorb material, how to absorb things, how to get a hold of things which are happening around.
Correct.
So for a beginner, newspaper is very, 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 very necessary.
Correct.
I cannot emphasize this enough.
Correct.
But eventually, when you become a bit experienced, then you know that there are magazines who are giving you some specialized data. Now, directly going to magazines, it cannot be done, because then you are fooling yourself.
Correct.
So firstly, you have to get the hold of the happenings. Then you have to become a bit more specialized. Then you can maybe dedicate less time on newspaper. more on magazines, and
Correct.
someday you can even skip a newspaper.
Correct.
So if it's a part of your daily schedule, then it's very good.
Correct.
But it's not like it's one of the myths that you have to read the newspaper daily. It's not like that. But
Correct.
you have to be smart enough that if you're not reading newspaper, then you have to take that stuff from somewhere else.
Okay.
Right? You have to save time.
Correct.
But for mains preparation, newspaper reading is mandatory. I read newspapers daily after prelims till 15 days before my mains exam.
Correct.
So for that, newspaper reading is a mandatory thing to do.
Understood. Okay, so now coming to the interview part, right? So how you prepared for the interview? What was your experience during the interview, and what are your suggestions to the guys who are going for the interview?
So the first thing is that interview is not a test of your knowledge. One should be very clear about it. And Hota and Agarwal committee, they told something about 25 or 26 qualities that are looked into a candidate during interviews. It's a personality test, actually. They don't call it interview. So personality means not knowledge, but how you carry yourself, right? Because knowledge they have already tested in your prelims and mains examination. My preparation was a bit different because I have already given, I have already reached till UP PCS interview stage.
Okay.
Last year I gave RBI grade B interview. I missed it by 3.75 numbers only. So I was all India rank 120, but waiting list 13. So I was not lucky enough to get through. So, and I am from corporate background, right? So I have a bit much, understanding of myself. So I gave only 3 mocks. And I focused more on how to sustain my traits which are already there. Right. This is point number 1. You have to sustain your personality, bring in the good features of mocks, and try to analyze whether the mocks which you are giving, they are giving you right input or not.
Correct.
You have to take those inputs and you have to see whether that is really liking in you, and then you have to work accordingly.
Correct.
But the most important thing is that you have to trust yourself and be respectful. You have to learn the etiquettes. You are going into an interview with very prestigious and esteemed people, and you have to maintain that. So respect is foremost. You should not be dishonest during that, because they can see right through you. Right? Their combined experience is 5 times of your age, 150 years, something like that.
Correct.
So don't bluff.
Correct.
Be respectful.
Correct.
Be honest.
Correct.
And don't be defensive. Don't argue with them. And carry yourself like a civil servant.
Correct. Understood.
Because they want that thing from you.
Correct. Understood.
So you should not crumble under pressure. You should not change your stand.
Correct.
And you should not be, adamant at the same time. You have to be very polite and assertive and respectful. They are your elders, your seniors. You have to behave like that.
Correct. Understood. So maybe there are so many data available on these interview part, but because you have faced one in real life, so if you don't have an answer to a question, what would be your suggestion as a response to the audience in that case? What would you answer to the panel if they ask a question and you don't know?
Yes, so I mean, and it is going to happen that you won't be having answers to all the questions. So the best way to that is, as I told you, be honest. So if somebody, if the panel asks you one question and you are not able to recall that, then you may say that I'm sorry, with a smile on your face.
Correct.
I'm sorry, sir, I am not able to recall the details correctly right now. So if you don't know the answer complete, then you can say this. So, sorry, sir, I'm not able to recall the details right now. Or if you have some partial knowledge, or if you have, if you want to say something, then you would say that, sorry, sir, or sorry, ma'am, I'm not able to recall the exact details, but I am able to recall something. If you permit me, then I would like to share that with you.
Okay, understood.
So if they permit you, then don't just start
putting the half things through
mindlessly, right?
Correct.
Because suppose if they get an impression that you don't know and you are trying to make up answer, then your interview is gone, man.
Correct.
Right. So you have to be honest and you have to tell them that, sir, I don't know this, but I would like to try something like that. So they would know.
Correct. Understood. Then maybe
and this happened with me also.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah. So then maybe a very trivial question about the book. So obviously there are so many data available for the books. So I don't want you to kind of mention each and every topics, but in the sense which you think should be mandatory by anyone who is preparing for UPSC and it would help. So maybe those highlighted important books that you would suggest.
This is actually a tough question because the list is very extensive of mandatory books.
Okay.
But see, you have to start with the NCRTs.
Correct.
6 to 12, and you cannot bypass that because the UPSC is a game of having psychological advantage.
Correct.
So if this thing is continuously striking you that I haven't read NCRTs, then your preparation is not going to be very effective.
Correct.
So get over with NCRTs. I know it's a tough thing to do, 6 to 12, reading 6 to 12, but please do that.
Correct.
That will be the foundation of your preparation. Then you have to start with the basic books and then the advanced books. So basic books will be like Spectrum for history.
Correct.
And Tamil Nadu state boards for medieval and ancient.
Correct.
Lakshmikant for polity, it can be treated as basic as well as advanced.
Correct.
Then I read from Shankar IAS for environment. And science and tech, basically, you have to be very much, diverse. You have to read about stuff whenever you find free time. So your sense of hobby should be like that. You are reading some technical stuff.
Correct.
Because it is very tough to point a good science and tech book.
Correct.
Actually.
Correct.
So I have covered economics. I read from Shankar Ganeshan. It's a good book, so it will clarify your basics, and then you can refer any coaching's notes to complement it and include current affairs in that. So having said that, these are the basic books, but there are advanced books also. Like for example, in history, you have to read Bipin Chandra, you have to read Placi to Partition by Shekhar Bandyopadhyay. Then you can, and there is no end to it. You have to read, you will get some thoughts from A.L. Basham, The Wonder That Was India, for ancient history. So, I mean, but again, it's not a hard and fast rule that you have to read all these things. So it's very subjective. It's very subjective. But one thing which is not subjective, which is absolute, is that you have to read from less sources and you have to revise maximum number of times. And this is the mistake which most of the people are doing, that they are having many sources and they are revising less.
Correct. Okay. Yeah.
So this should be reversed.
Correct. Understood. Sounds good. I think very, very good insights, Saquib. Maybe I will just then end this with your thoughts now. What are you aiming for? What is your interest? IPS or IAS or other services? Just your interest and thoughts, and why?
Yes, interests and thoughts have already been provided in the DAF. So it was like my first priority was IAS, then IFS, then IPS, then IRS, and then so on.
Correct.
But based on my rank, there are chances of me getting IPS or IRS.
Okay.
So I am hoping. See, in every service you have to serve the country in a different way.
Correct.
So there are, there are different methods. There are different ways to reach the same goal. That is public service.
Correct.
So you just do that. Whatever I am satisfied.
Correct.
Because at least I got a service, right?
Correct.
So whatever service I get, I would be happy to do that, and I would like to, just be integrated and serve the public honestly.
Sure. Thanks, Saquib. And maybe like next time when we interact, just keep me posted that what service you got, and hopefully
definitely, definitely.
Sure. Definitely. Thank you, Saquib. It was really nice connecting with you and knowing all of this. Maybe for the audience, I will also give the list of all the books getting from Saquib in the video comments. And if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comment section. I would be, I would try to kind of get in touch with Saquib and answer those. You may please share with your colleagues who are preparing UPSC, because that might be interesting. They might have similar backgrounds, what Saquib had, like an engineer working, then dropped, was not that much serious, then became very, very serious. So all these ups and downs came. So it might be very, very much relative to the other aspirants as well. And yeah, keep sharing and do subscribe. We would keep on bringing these contents with you. Thank you. Thank you very much.